Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You are tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News Radio, KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon Music, iTunes, Audible, and more. Because I'm on a Happy 88 mission, which means I want to reach and convince 88 million more people to be happy in the next 8 years. So it's great that I have all the major platforms and more, and it's even better that you're listening and you are tuned in here. I'm so grateful that in the short 5 months that I've been promoted into the morning show, we have a really good Nielsen share number that is telling me that there are hundreds of thousands of people who want not to start their day with shock talk or what's wrong with the world or scrolling for meaningless information about people that really don't matter, but instead want to be in tune with me here, your hashtag positively opinionated host. Some of you already know me as Dr. Marissa. I was introduced to Oprah as the Asian Oprah, and that is why I have that honorable moniker. And the show is about hope and happiness. So there's no gossip, no scandal, and no K words. I used to say that all the time, no Kardashian talk. But now I'm just saying no K words as in no cuckoo. No, I guess that doesn't work. But we don't want to talk about people in a bad way because ultimately it doesn't feel good. And I'm all about finding the best feeling thought, finding the best feeling word, finding the best feeling place that I can possibly be. And I know that's why you're here as well. And I thank you. And today is November the 12th. And let's see what's so special about today. And it is Chicken Soup for the Soul Day. And because of that, I'm going to bring you a little clip where I got to interview Jack Canfield, the wonderful co-founder of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. And it was my daughter's favorite book, which kind of explains why she's so cool. When she was young, that was her book of choice. Enjoy.
This is Dr. Marissa reporting live from the beautiful Globe Theater at Universal Studio Ryan Long's 2-day city summit. You know me, Dr. Marissa, as the Asian Oprah, and I'm here with someone who you should know from like years and years, the best-selling series. I mean, best-selling doesn't even describe it, but Chicken Soup for the Soul. Here's the guy. And how are you today?
You're the Asian Oprah. That makes me the Gaijin success coach, I
there
guess.
There you go. Gaijin success coach. That's your
anyway,
new byline.
There you go.
So good to see you
Thank
again.
You.
I
You
love
too.
seeing you all over the place. And
thank you.
What for you is the one thing that gets in the way of people's success? Like people that you meet and they really want to do something big like you've done?
Well, there's a couple of things. Number one is fear. Fear of failure, fear of loss, fear of, I'm going to lose my money, I'm going to lose my fame, my fortune, my reputation. That's a big one. That's controllable now with things like EFT tapping. Literally in 5 minutes or less, we can get rid of any fear we have.
Right.
Second thing is limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs, usually they're unconscious because between the ages of 3 and 8, we have emotional experiences that are negative. We get rejected, something happens, and we make a decision that then it goes unconscious. We don't remember it. Then when we're 30, we're still acting as if I don't deserve success.
Right.
It's dangerous to reach out.
Yeah, I call that BS, your belief system. Call the BS.
You call the
right?
BS, exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Last question I usually ask on the show is, who are you grateful to or for that helped you get to where you are?
Well, probably mostly a man named W. Clement Stone in Chicago when I was about 23. He was a multi-millionaire, $600 million. He'd be a billionaire by today's inflationary standards. Right. Took me under his wing, and he taught me what he called the success principles that never fail. And so basically I started applying that in my life. I've learned more since then, NLP, things like that. Yeah. But I would say everyone should find a wing to climb under, some mentor who's already done what you want to do.
Right.
I was lucky enough to do that, and here I am today.
Beautiful. And as I close out, can you do a peace in, peace out? Remember that? It's all about balance. Peace in and peace out. Okay. And my big brother, Michael Bernard Beckwith, says hello.
Very good.
He's the one that dubbed me Asian Oprah. He introduced me to Oprah as the Asian Oprah. Good. Did you know that?
I did not know that. I was just with Michael last week.
At Mine Valley?
No, at Epic Day.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, have a great time today.
My pleasure.
You're awesome.
Thank you, Marissa.
You're awesome.
And Chicken Soup for the Soul Day is commemorated every year on November 12th. It's a day for exploring and unpacking deep-rooted emotional issues and searching for inspiration to lead more fulfilling lives. And boy, that's just right up my life alley. And of course, the show's. And if you're out there right now and you're feeling extremely exhausted from waging your own personal battles with skeletons from the past, or people in your present that are driving you crazy, or the weight of the pandemic and all the added stressors, and you are feeling like you just want to give up, I want to suggest today on this Chicken Soup Day that everything that happens to us is actually happening for us. Now, some of you may be extremely jaded or cynical and like, oh, you're just trying to make me feel better about what's happening, and you're just trying to make me feel okay with what's going on. And yes, that is exactly what I'm trying to do, because you can spend the entire rest of your life and be upset and angry and resentful and aggravated by everything that is happening to you and that you have a right to. My dad says righteous indignation is the biggest killer as a resentment. Or you can choose, and I'm just begging you to just consider thinking about what's happening to you as happening for you. And my best story for that is the Two Rocks story. So those of you who've heard this on stage, bear with me, but it has a wonderful lesson for all of us. So there's two rocks. One's on the left side of the room and one's on the right side of the room. And the one on the left, no one ever goes and says anything to it. The one on the right, always has a crowd of people looking at it, praising it, saying, oh my God, how beautiful is that? How beautiful the light is coming through the angles. How beautiful, what an amazing, a glorious rock this is. And this goes on for 8 years. And finally, the rock on the left, it has had it. And it jumps off its little pedestal and it shakes his little hand and says, life, you are not fair. Life, you are absolutely unfair, because every single day I'm so sick and tired of watching that other rock over there get all of the kudos, get all of the praise, get all of the compliments, and no one ever, ever, ever comes and says anything nice to me. Life, you are not fair. Life comes down, the clouds part, thunder roars, puts his arm around the rock and says, darling, I love you. And every time I come to you with my chisel and start to work on you, you say, no, it's too hard. Ouch, ouch, ouch. It hurts too much. Stop. Don't touch me. And so you have nothing hard. You have no chiseling. Moral of the story, pain in life is mandatory. Suffering is optional. And through the chiseling, we become even more incredibly beautiful. Did you get that? I hope so, because you absolutely have the choice every single moment of every single day. Every condition that happens to you is happening for you. And I'm going to challenge you today on this Chicken Soup for the Soul Day to look at whatever is happening to you and ask yourself, what is this doing for me in making me a better person? Is it chiseling me into more compassion, more care, more love, more creativity, more problem-solving skills, more enlightenment and more innovation? Everything that's happening to me is happening for me. My role and my skill is to figure out how I can take whatever shiitake is being thrown at me and changing it into fertilizer to grow me. Now, you don't have to take that challenge, and you can continue to choose to be angry and bitter and confused and frustrated and exhausted and exasperated. That choice is yours. You can say, but I have a right to be pissed off. And I would probably agree with you. But then where's that going to lead you? To more pissed offedness. Do you really want that? Do you want this day that's never going to come back to be pissed off? Yes? No? Your choice. Okay? There's my soapbox for the day. And when we come back, continuing some education around things that you may not have known, November is actually National Caregivers Month. And so I have an interview with John Lehr, President and CEO of the Parkinsons Foundation, and Marie Head, a Parkinson's caregiver, to help understand and find out where you can get support. And it's very special to me because my Chinese mom in Toronto has Parkinson's, and she has had that for about a dozen years. So this interview is especially important. So keep it here on Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And we're back. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News and CNBC News Radio Channel, KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere, including my YouTube channel, which when you subscribe, and it's free, you will get an alert at 8 a.m. when every new show drops. So not only will you get all past 574 shows, but who's counting? You'll also get my new short film, PPP, Post-Pandemic Possibilities, my Radio for Our Deaf Community series that has interpreters with the show that help all people be able to access interviews with amazing people like Layla Ali, Rick O'Berry, the dolphin activist who's right now in Taiji, Japan. And as promised, I'm bringing you the interview to help us celebrate and educate around November, National Family Caregivers Month, and Parkinson's. Enjoy. Good morning. November is the National Family Caregivers Month, and the Parkinson's Foundation is recognizing the millions of Americans caring for loved ones living with chronic conditions like Parkinson's disease. And this one is near and dear to my heart, as my own mom has Parkinson's. She's had it for a little over a dozen years up in Canada. So I'm anxious to speak to my two experts today in my studio, John Lehr, President and CEO of the Parkinsons Foundation, and Marie Head, partner and primary caregiver for her husband living with Parkinson's for the past decade. Welcome to my studio, John Lehr and Marie Head.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Of course. John, let's start with you. How is the Parkinson's Foundation making a difference for caregivers?
Yeah, so during November, which is National Family Caregivers Month, we're taking time to honor and celebrate people who are serving in a caregiver role for people living with a chronic disease like Parkinson's. We are also highlighting or spotlighting a number of the resources that we have at our foundation that help people in their journey with Parkinson's, both as a person living with the disease, but also as for those who are in a care partner role. Parkinson's affects 1 million Americans. I hear you say your mother's up in Canada, so there's 10 million individuals worldwide living with this disease, and tends to affect people later in life. It's a progressive degenerative neurological disease, so over time things tend to get a little more challenging, and people living with the disease have to often rely on their partner, their spouse, their children to help them with their activities of daily living. And so we thank them, that we take this time to thank them, but we also take this time to say, hey, we're here to help and we've got these resources.
What are some of the challenges for caregivers?
So because you have a relative that has Parkinson's disease, you may be familiar with some of these things that we face as caregivers. And a lot of times, as caregivers, we don't take the time to take care of ourselves, right? So one of the biggest challenges, I think, for caregivers is learning to be a self-caregiver, looking out for yourself, because if you're not healthy and taking care of yourself, then it's hard to take care of someone else. It can put a physical, emotional, mental drain on you, and sometimes it can even be a financial drain on caregivers, for taking care of the people that they love, whether it's Parkinson's or some other sort of chronic disease. So I think that's one of the challenges that I've seen, and making sure that I don't get caregiver burnout.
Right. What are some things that you do that keep you from getting burnout?
So I have a support group that I call on regularly. Some of my support group are my family. A lot of them are my family. And then I have some friends, who I just chat with or check with or go have lunch with regularly, who also check on me. And because I am so confident in my support group, I'm not afraid to ask them for help when I need it.
That's great.
Yes. So that's important,
Absolutely.
I think, the caregiver.
Absolutely. Now, John, how did you become then involved? Like, what was your connection to becoming president and CEO of Parkinson's Foundation? I'm sure that it wasn't just happenstance.
Like so many people, once you start talking about Parkinson's, it's not hard to find somebody who doesn't have a 1-degree separation from somebody with the disease. So when I was a kid, I had she wasn't my actual grandmother, but she, was in many ways like a grandmother, and she lived with Parkinson's later in her life. Her daughter, who was my mother's best friend, was her caregiver, so I had a chance to see firsthand what it was like to live with Parkinson's disease. And then, in 2017, 2 small organizations came together to form the larger Parkinsons Foundation, and I was fortunate to be tapped to be the new CEO of that organization. And it's been just a joy to be here at the Parkinsons Foundation to do as much as we can on behalf of people living with and affected by this disease.
Wonderful. I can hear it in your voice. So what does this foundation play as a role in helping caregivers or people with Parkinson's?
Yeah. So we've been really focused on this for the last number of years. So we've held Care Partner Summit. We've taken the the expertise of people who are in a caregiver role. We put a lot of materials together. Those materials are all available on our website, parkinson.org, and very specifically for care partners at parkinson.org /Caregivers Month. We also have a helpline, which is available during normal business hours in the United States, which is staffed by healthcare professionals who are experts in Parkinson's, and serve as a resource and as a guide to anybody who has a question about Parkinson's, whether it's somebody living with the disease, somebody who's a care partner for the disease. We know the important role that caregivers have in ensuring that people with the disease can perform their activities of daily living and live as functionally independently as possible.
Beautiful. Marie, anything else that people need to know? Sure. Some of the things, the guidance that when people ask me about being a care partner for Parkinson's disease, is I talk about how important it is to communicate with the person that you're giving care to. Communicate your needs to them, and they can communicate their needs to you, so that you're a partnership in this caregiving, right? Mm-hmm. And then also, as you're moving through this, educate yourself as you move through the progression of the disease. The resources that John just talked about on their website have been so valuable to my husband and I over the years that he's been diagnosed. We go there regularly. We formed a community there where we share information and pass it along to other folks. And so the resources, taking advantage of those resources is so important. Absolutely. I'm going to go there right after we finish this interview for my mom. Well, I'm just delighted to have met you both virtually. I am so grateful that there are resources. Marie, you isolated. The most important thing is to ask for help. And it's Parkinson.org, I believe, that has tons of information and support. John and Marie, for the work that you do, I am giving you the Dr. Marissa Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award. And there's no physical copy of that. I don't give it to all my guests, but certainly for the work that you're doing with the foundation and the support work that you're doing for people like us who have people that we love with Parkinson's. Thank you so much. And this is Dr. Marissa reporting live, just balancing out all the bad news out there and highlighting what is good about the world, what is good about people, what's good about communities like the Parkinson's Foundation and the work that they do. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Absolutely.
So please do go and take advantage of all of the support material at www.parkinson.org/caregiving. There's also a helpline, 1-800-4PD-info. That's 1-800-473-4636 for answers to Parkinson's disease care questions. When we come back, my spotlight interview is from that exact series that I've been talking about, Radio for a Deaf Community, where my fabulous staff interpreter, Sharon Pierre Lewis, helps me interview Gerry, who is a youth activist who talks about bully prevention as a result of his own experiences, bullied for being tall at the age of 8. And he starts his own nonprofit at the age of 10, and then got the California Senate to adopt 12-12-12, and a moment of silence to remember those bullied, including the bully. So you're going to love this spotlight interview when we come back on Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And we're back. You're tuned into Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA AM 1050 FM 102. here on NBC News Radio, CNBC News Radio, NBC Sports Radio, KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. And you all know this is a show about hope and happiness and highlighting what is right with people, what's right with the world, what's right with folks who take what happened to them and make it part of educating and hashtag be the change. This is one of my favorite individuals who does that. His name is Gerry Orrs. He continues to do his work, and I just wanted to highlight what he does and who he is on my show. Enjoy.
Gerry Orrs, at the age of 8, began doing this work, filmmaking, talking about bullies and why bullies need some help themselves and how kids who are bullied need to have some help. He made films. He convinced at the age of 10, I believe, the California Senate to proclaim 12-12-12 at 12, a day of non-bully or bully prevention awareness day. You'll correct me that later. So I was just so impressed. I went up to him afterwards. He has 2 great moms. I have one of the moms in the studio now, Kate. And so without further ado, I'd like us to welcome Gerry Orrs and his mom, Kate. Yay! Welcome to the studio.
Thank you for having me here.
Absolutely. Let's bring that really close to you so you don't have to lean so far forward. Awesome.
There we
Take
go.
a deep breath. I want you to do something for me. I want you to close your eyes gently, and I want you to take me back. I like to do this kind of travel back in time, and I want you, I will have plenty of time to talk about your great nonprofit, the great work that you're doing, but I want you to take me back to when this all started. What happened to you at school? Take me back to the school. What was said? Who said it? How did you feel? What happened after that? So take me back.
Well, pretty much what happened. I just moved to California from Florida. I heard you all heard this before. I wanted to be an actor. It was kind of my dream at then. And so we moved to California. I was in 3rd grade, completely new school. So far the day was going fine. And then about towards the end of the day, I started getting bullied. And because I was very open, I went to kids and I said, hey, my name is Gerry and I have 2 moms. So kids bullied me because of that, because of being so tall, because of kind of trying to be a teacher's pet. And after about half a year of bullying, it kind of inspired me after I told my parents to do something about it, because this should not be happening.
Great.
Bullying is not something that should be done at school.
Okay, take a deep breath. And now gently open your eyes and look at me. Before we launch in, I just want to say that you are an extraordinary young man, and that I hope you know that your life and what you're doing, I'm going to give you the Dr. Marissa Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award right now. And whatever you do for the rest of your life, I want you to know that you're appreciated and you're of value. You already know that. I know you already know that, but I have a feeling you're a little bit of a overachiever like I am. And sometimes we forget to just take the breath and just say, I did good. I'm doing good. It's not an ego thing, but it is where we get our connection to the good, where we get that, yeah, it's good. And if nothing ever happens, and I know it will, it's good right now. So take that breath. This studio is so full of love right now. Do you feel it?
I do feel it. And what an honor.
Good.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so you're teased. You're 8 years old. You're in grade 3. I'm not going to say what school you were going to, but these are all kids, boys and girls.
Mostly boys.
Mostly boys, okay. And then what would they say to you? How would they tease you? And the reason why I'm doing this, I don't want you to relive a nightmare or something, but we have listeners. We have moms listening. We have kids listening, because I've been promoting this. I wanted kids who were off school, or later in the podcast, they're going to listen to it when they're off school. So
I think one of the things when kids are bullied, they think they're the only ones, or they don't want to talk about it because it's embarrassing, right? Okay. So I want you to tell me exactly what kinds of things you were feeling and what was going through your head.
Well, what kinds of things I was feeling? I was kind of feeling like I was doing something wrong because I really didn't know what bullying was. Before in Florida, I did not experience one bit of bullying. Okay. I went to schools where bullying was restricted very nicely. They took care of it, and I was like, what is going on? Did I do something wrong? Is this my fault? And they said things to me like, fag, you shouldn't be along, you're a disgrace of nature. Pretty much things to make me feel bad that I have two moms and I am who I am.
That's tough. That's tough. Did you tell your moms right away?
Not right away. It was actually almost when third grade was almost over when I finally told them, and they told me, why didn't you tell us?
Right.
And I was like, I didn't want to put more stress on you, and they told me about bullying, which kind of led me to starting all of this. Right.
I also experienced bullying when I was about the same age, and I was born in this very tiny town in Canada where a lot of people were German. And there was one Asian, one black, one Indian, and that was it. And I can remember being put in a stairwell corner, and I can feel it again, and there's just some sadness, but I'm not there, but I can pull it up and go, if I have compassion for the little girl that I was, who didn't know how to respond when I was, Chinese, Japanese, dirty knees, look at these. And I was just like horrified. What have I done to deserve this? Have I said something wrong? Is there something wrong with me? And the first time, I didn't tell my parents as well, because my father I'd heard him a couple of times say, we never should have left China. Okay, so I knew if I came home with this, he would really say, I should have never left China. And of course, I took it until the pressure got so bad where I was so distraught that I would come home crying, that I finally told him, and sure enough, he said, I should have never left China. And so I would continue, for the next 2 or 3 years, I wouldn't say anything. And there was no way to fight back because I didn't want to admit that I was hurt, too. That was the other thing. I didn't want anybody to know that this actually impacted me. So, okay, so we got that feeling, okay. What finally got you to go, I have to say something?
Well, some completely other reason, not really bullying whatsoever. I changed schools, and that I felt like, you know what, it's done. No matter what happens, I shouldn't feel embarrassed. It's over. So I finally told them, and that what led me to what's going on? Why did you not tell us?
Okay. So you told your moms that you were bullied, and you went to the school. Mom, welcome to the studio. Aren't you?
Thank you so much.
I can't believe. I'm sure you're so proud of them all the time. There's that goes without saying. I'm proud of him. I'm not his mom. So I'm proud of my kids very, very much. But go ahead. So he came to you. What happened?
Well, the very first feeling was, it's funny you said that, we should never left China. We were like, we should never left Florida, and, why is this happening?
Right.
And I know one of the reasons why Gerry was picked on is because I came to school a couple of times for various events, and kids picked up on my accent. So he was still saying that you're not American, your mom is not, from here.
And it's a beautiful accent. Where is it from?
Ukraine, Russian.
Wonderful.
Thank you. And so, definitely I felt a little bit of guilt, and we felt a little bit, we felt like we didn't prepare him.
Right.
And I think that...
And your wife's heritage is?
She is from New Jersey.
From New Jersey.
Yes.
Okay.
Jersey
So
girl.
New Jersey accent and a Ukrainian accent.
Yeah.
All right.
We are a wonderful combination. And
yes.
We were absolutely, of course we were very upset, and we sat down and we talked to him, and what we realized as parents, and I think what's important kind of to throw the word out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's never too soon to start talking about it, because a lot of parents think my kids are too young, they will not understand.
Right.
I'll talk to them when they're mature enough to be able to understand what we're talking about.
Right.
And I think we need to give our kids benefit of a doubt. They understand, and they can, they can definitely comprehend much more than we expect.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought that we should have had that conversation with him sooner. We never expected that this is going to happen. We definitely saw the change in him.
Right.
He is a very lively child, as you can see.
Yes.
And
shy like me.
Yeah.
Sarcasm is another service I offer.
Yes. Shyness and modesty, just not in his vocabulary. So
we'll get along. No wonder we get along.
So we definitely saw immediately change. When we moved, he started school. All of a sudden, he shut down. He stopped talking. He stopped laughing. He lost interest in things that typically interested him. He was talking Hollywood and movies. And, one of the reasons we moved here, so he can have that opportunity. And all of a sudden, he just, I don't even know if I want to do this. And we're like, really?
Right. We moved here?
What's happening? So when he talked to us, it definitely kind of clicked all together. We sat down, we had a long discussion. We talked about debug, one of the famous techniques that a lot of schools are using, especially for younger kids. And
what is that?
Debug.
Debug?
Yeah.
Yes, it's pretty much a 5-step rule. It's pretty much if you're being bullied, 1, ignore them. 2, walk away. 3, ask them to stop it politely. 4, ask them to stop it a bit more rudely. And 5, get in a trusted adult.
Wow. Awesome. Debug.
Yeah.
That's it. So does the letter stand for something? Is that why? Or it's just a...
It's just a name.
No, it's just a word because, a lot of schools using that, because it's...
That's great.
Yeah, you're debugging, right?
Yes,
what's the problem.
Yes.
And so we talked to him about it, and that's when I think it clicked with Gerry that why have I not heard about it before?
Right.
And he's in elementary school, 3rd grade. Why have I not heard about it before? Why am I hearing it from you, my parents, right now?
Right.
And in addition to that, there was another event that happened on TV in one of his favorite shows. If you want to talk about it.
Yeah, it was Ellen DeGeneres show. I'm sure you've heard of that show. Pretty much, sadly, there was a bullying suicide. And I believe she had a family on the show, and she was just talking about it, and that kind of inspired me. This should not be happening. Kids go to school to learn, to have fun, to make friends, not to be experienced by something like this.
I want people to see your fabulous, cute face, so let's do that.
Okay.
So you heard the Ellen DeGeneres, you saw that, and so that inspired you to actually do something about your bad experience.
Right.
And that's what you get a lot of credit for, because this happens to a lot of people. Bullying happens. Some people say it's it's a normal part of growing up, which is bullshit-talky. It does not have to be a normal part of growing up. And so then you went, okay, I want to help make this stop. So then what happened?
Well, I made a film before because it's funny how I started filming. It was mostly from impatience because I was an actor and I thought, I'm not getting any roles. This is kind of boring. Why don't I just make myself a role? So
I love it.
The only thing I could come up from that idea was making a movie. So I made a little film, ironically called Meeting Ellen. And so I got the crew that I used for that movie back together, and we made a short film called Day of Silence.
Has Ellen seen the first one yet?
We've sent the movie to her, and we don't know if we saw her.
Well, we'll send this clip to her. How's that? So then you made a second film, which is
Born to Bully.
Born to Bully. So A Day of Silence was the next one. And actually you can see that on YouTube, right?
Yes, and Born to Bully is also on YouTube, and both movies got a lot of feedback, a lot of positive feedback. So we are actually making a third film called Equation of Life. It's about 32 minutes long, and in September it is going to be available for licensing. In October it's going to be available for DVD buying or
Wow.
commercial sale.
Great. So how old are you?
I'm 12.
Okay. So this is, and how old did you start doing this?
About 9 years
Okay.
old.
Okay. You're strange, but in a good way. I mean, most kids are playing. Okay. I mean, this is great. This is absolutely, he's being the change that he wants to see. So that's awesome. Okay. So how did you get in front of the California Senate? I mean, that was just like, what? I knew I had to have you on the show then.
So one thing before Gerry will continue with the California Senate,
Yes.
I wanted to kind of point out that his big breaking news for today was that this is the first time we're officially announcing that the Equation of Life was picked up for distribution and will be available commercially in stores and online for digital
Wow.
by
Okay, drum
October.
roll. You got the drum roll? Okay, let's do that
So
again.
you
This
get
is
the breaking news.
This is the breaking news. Here we go. Okay. Announcing on Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa. Today's special guest, Gerry Orse, is announcing...
We are announcing that we are releasing in September for licensing for our 32-minute film called Equation of Life, and in October it is going to be commercial. It's going to be online, it's going to be in stores. It's going to be pretty much you can go to store and pick it up and take it home and watch it.
And this is a 12-year-old filmmaker, by the way. Just in case you thought he used oil of Olay and he's older than he looks, he actually is only 12. And it got picked up by by a distributor.
Yeah.
That's
TDC
phenomenal.
distribution, we're very grateful.
That's phenomenal. I am one of the sponsors of the Newport Beach Film Festival, so maybe we can slide that in there for next year.
That would be
Maybe.
awesome.
That would be fantastic.
Wouldn't
I'd
that
love
be
to go.
something? That would be. All right. Gears are moving. So and that movie is about...
It's about from all angles. It's from the the victim's perspective, the bully's perspective, and the bystander's perspective.
Ooh, okay. So give me a teaser, because I think the other reason why I wanted to have you on the show is you weren't a bully bust. I mean, you're a bully buster, but you weren't a bully blamer, and that really, really hit my heart. That you, as someone who'd been bullied, actually has compassion and are not blaming the bullier.
Yeah, pretty much a bully is never born to bully. That's why the movie's called Born to Bully, but pretty much why the reason mostly kids bully is because they're bullied somewhere else. They're either bullied by another kid at school, a sibling, very commonly a parent, and it's just horrible. And that's pretty much what it shows in the film, that even though the bully seems so horrible, so evil, really he's not.
Right.
He's innocent. He was just a little kid before that loved and had fun and played games and was lighthearted and jumpy, just like the main character. But turned out to be a bully just because of one family member.
Right. And the stats will prove you absolutely. The research shows that the majority, if not all, bullies have some kind of trauma in their own past. And so they are very unhappy themselves, they're troubled themselves, and this is the way that they try to make themselves feel good. And it is one of those patterns that has continued for generation after generation, because nobody said, this has got to stop. So the great news is there's more awareness now than there ever has been. So that's the good news. Just like sexual harassment, just like any kind of dark discriminatory practice, though, when you first put some light on it, it scurries underground or it scurries into the dark. And so I do know, and I applaud, and I continue. We have to keep pushing. We have to keep moving in this direction, or it will just, lay dormant and then rear its ugly head again. Obviously, if you listen to the news, those old belief systems of some of the people who should know better just come out because they're underground, and they will come out if they're not thinking before they open their mouth. So what we're trying to do is flash the light, clean it out, get the infection out, make it a safe place for everyone to be alive, which in peace and joy, which is great. And you see the lovely Sharon Pierre Lewis here making this fabulous program today, part of the Radio for Our Deaf community series. Thank you, Sharon Pierre Lewis, for doing the magic that you do with your hands. What a beautiful language. And in our studio today is the amazing child wonder, Gerry Orrs, and his mom, Kate, who are here sharing with us his journey to getting the California Senate to proclaim 12-12-12 at 12, when there was a moment of silence for, what is it exactly called? The bully?
It's called National Bullying Prevention Day.
National Bully Prevention Day. I saw the little clip on YouTube. What an amazing opportunity for you to get up and address the Senate. Yes, and they look like they were super kind to you. Yes, for politicians.
It was so much fun. I went there twice. Once for both years. This year, 2014, is going to be the third year of Day of Silence. It is now going to be 3 years old. But both times they're very nice, all positive, and it was just a lot of fun. Pretty much how we got there. It was really surprising. We didn't know how connections happen, but a connection to a connection
It's a friendly
happened.
universe. It's a friendly universe.
Small world.
Yes.
And we pretty much just got a call one day, normal day, pretty much got a call from the senator of our area saying, we want you to come to Sacramento and talk to the Senate.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And you know, that brings up, I was thinking about this morning. You know, today is day 13 on my 21-day fast from complaining with Dr. Marissa. And day 13, every day 13, I take a breath and remember all the victims of the worst Orange County massacre in Seal Beach, my hometown, when it was the salon shooting. I don't know if you remember hearing about that. And it was a horrific day. And the press said, you know, this little town's never going to recover. And, you know, it's tragedy's horrible. We think of all the tragedies that happen. You know, the Aaron Runyon's child murdered, abducted. You know, she was on my show. Paul Wilson, the husband of Christy, who died in that shooting. The Boston bombing. You know, there's tragedy all over. Bullying is one of those negative things that happen in life. And if we can take that breath and absolutely feel the compassion and the healing peace for anyone who has suffered, but then don't stay there. I think that when we stay there and we marinate in the tragedy, okay, which the news is really good at getting us to do, like we're watching TV, like if something happens and then we spend the rest of the day waiting for detail and listening to all this MSU, make shiitake up conjecture, and it doesn't help. So what helps is when tragedy happens to take that breath, send out the healing love and peace to those impacted, and then turn around and what can I do? What can I do to make a difference so whatever happened doesn't happen again? And that's what you did. So you go to California Senate. You now have a day of peace that you can anchor, or a moment of silence. And that moment of silence, what are you asking people to do in that moment of silence?
Pretty much what I'm asking to do in that moment of silence is really simple. Because I saw that only high school, maybe, very rarely, sometimes middle school, have an entire day of silence. And I thought, one, why is it just middle school and high school? Why not elementary school? And why is it the whole day? Mm-hmm. So, because whole day is kind of hard for a lot of people like me. I love talking a lot. So I decided for everybody, adults, from a person that is 0 year old to 99 years old, for example, they can join us in a moment of silence on December 12th. December 12th, yes. You can stay silent the whole day or just stay silent 12 seconds right after 12 p.m.
Fabulous. Fabulous.
Isn't he incredible? I just love it when young people take on and don't wait till they get old to have a voice to help #be the change. Good for you, Gerry. If you'd like to hear the rest of that interview and others, please do go free subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you'd like a happy tip sheet, go to drmarissa.life, because I am determined that you are happy 88% of the time. This is Dr. Marissa reporting live from my living room. This is it for today's installation of Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind, reminding you that it's all about balance. Peace in, peace out. World peace through inner peace. And have the best weekend ever.